she hooks that thing by the little mouth. And, like, she's dragging it, and it's like, "What is going on here?"
Again with a Peter
Yeah,
Pan reference, though, with, like, the hook. It was
yeah,
just, like,
and so
it was so visceral. Oh my
right.
god.
She's dragging this thing around.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to the channel. Meanwhile, elsewhere, I am here with Laura. I am Amber, and we are covering episode 3 of Alien Earth Metamorphosis. Laura, high points and low points of this episode.
Okay, so I don't know if you ever watched Family Guy, but there's yeah, me too, but there's this one scene from Family Guy that lives forever in my mind, and it made me, like, kind of cackle. So, you know the scene where, the Xenomorph is kind of, like, on Joe and Wendy,
Mhm.
and then it, like, really starts to, growl at them and the little mouth comes out too.
Yes.
And there's this scene in Family Guy where there's, like, a xenomorph, but it's got, like, the voice of this guy Bruce from it, and it's like, "I like to eat people from other planets. I like to eat them with my little mouth too." I can't never. It's been oh my god, it's been so many years, and the moment I saw it, I was like, "I like to eat them with my little mouth too." That was the high point for
So that's
me.
your high point.
Absolutely my high point.
Little mouth. Um, Low points?
Honestly, the low point is the unsettling textures.
The unsettling textures.
Dude, when
You
you're
mean all of the
watching
goop?
yeah, tell me that sometimes you don't see a texture where you're just like, "Ugh, ugh," like, make that get that off the screen.
Well, I mean, that's a good point because within the realm of sci-fi, especially horror, you're gonna have to throw some things in there to make people feel really unsettled. For me, the goop does nothing. I mean, if they had someone come in with 2, like, boards of styrofoam and started swishing them together, I might, like that might get me, but
One thing that kinda stuck out to me that is totally irrelevant is, like, the speedboat gondola. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like this
no.
random, just like somebody's walking through like over a bridge, and then suddenly this like gondola speedboats away. And I was like, yeah, speedboat gondolas in this universe. I
Okay.
do have, I swear, I have serious things to say about it too.
Okay. I think for me okay, high point for me, I'm gonna say I love touching on what you said last week, I love Morrow. He is a 10. That scene of him coming in and it's the character of Smee and I already forgot the other guy's name, Slightly.
Yeah.
And he's really given them the business, but the portrayal of these 2 characters where they're children in adult bodies, like, having this very back and forth, like, "Dude, bro" moment, and
It
then
was exactly like 12-year-olds.
yeah, and then Morrow kind of coming in on it all, and this whole exchange I thought was really, really good. It was just really enjoyable, but I think Morrow and Kirsh have become my, like, top 2 with this episode.
Yeah, Kirsh
Very
really came
yeah.
in for this episode.
Yeah, I'm very interested in what's going on with both of them, their plot lines, more about them as characters. And I would like to know more about, their history, their story. I don't know how much of that we're going to actually get, but I'm definitely ready for more of that. I think low points for me, as much as I'm interested and becoming more interested in the Lost Boys as characters, I'm still not quite sure if I'm totally, like, in it with all of them. Like, they've done a lot this episode to get me more intrigued because it kind of looks like we're setting up factions now where we've got some of them like Nibs, who is kind of she seems deeply traumatized over everything that's been happening, this whole consciousness upload, and then her encounter with the little alien squid alien.
Yeah, like the eyeball thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It
And
was a
so
cat, now it's now it's an
yeah.
octopus.
Yeah, so I'm curious where she stands because she kind of seems like that she looks like she's going down the road of having, like, a big freak out and very unstable, and I'm curious how that's going to play a role in the end because she seems like one of those characters where they're like, they've got their finger on the button, like, "I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. Something's gonna go down," and she's gonna be kind of this wild card situation. So I don't know, like, I'm definitely getting more into these characters, but I'm still not sure if the whole trope of, uploading a consciousness or are they just copies into new bodies? Like, what does that say about humanity and personhood? It's a trope that I think we've both talked about multiple times with other series. So I would
Right.
like to see Alien Earth put some type of new spin on it where I can say, "Ah, okay, like I hadn't really thought about that aspect."
So when we talk about, like, the child aspect of it, I think that one of the best things that I've seen about, like, the acting so far is how well the actors are integrating, like, that child consciousness into an adult body kind of thing.
They're doing great.
Right. So I can't remember the name of the one. She goes to visit Cavalier and she's all like, "Wendy's your favorite."
Yeah,
And
Pickles,
Pickles, the name, dude, the name. Uh,
or Pickle, she has 2 names, whatever it was, she says they also call her Pickle in the books, or Pickles.
so like we see this very childlike, scheme to kind of become the new favorite, which would be very much like a child's goal here.
Yeah,
And not only in that, but when Morrow catches Smee and Slightly, it turns into this whole like, "What's going on with you guys?" And then they do that thing that kids do where they overshare and then they tell you that there's a secret, but that they can't tell you. And then it turns into like, "Oh, they're gonna tell me." And so in those moments, we actually see Morrow get really caught up, which I think was one of the more interesting aspects of this episode, was he's really caught up with like these synths think they have parents. Like, why would they think they have parents?
right.
And you can tell, like, through the episodes, it's really kinda, like, grinding away in his head, which leads to that whole, like, conversation with Slightly later on, which, quite frankly, Slightly was kind of wild for because he had literally just found out Big Brother is legitimately always listening and watching and has every capacity to, like, roll back the tapes. So,
Mhm.
this could probably end pretty badly for Slightly. But clearly Morrow is figuring out what's going on here. He's like, "Okay, there's synths, but something else is going on." And I'm
Yeah.
curious to see how his figuring that out is going to play into the greater storyline.
Definitely. I think another really nice little catch during that scene where they have that, Morrow's talking to the 2 of them. We learn later on that these eggs respond to anything that can
Humans.
become a host, so
Yeah.
humans. And so I'm assuming when he's in the room with them, they're not responding to Slightly or Smee, and so he's, like, off the rip, he knows something's up, but they're not acting how they should act, and he's really, like, confused by it
Yeah.
all, but now I'm curious if what he connected to Slightly, now they're connected and they can talk and whatnot, but I'm curious where this is all going because so far Morrow has watched his entire crew get run down. He's complicit in it, like, he shut the doors, he's
I
watched
mean,
people
he didn't just
die.
shut it, he welded it shut.
Yeah, exactly, and so when he has that phone call with the head of the corporation, she's like, come back, we'll, debrief whatever, give me what you've got." And he's like, "No, I'm going to get him." I wanna know why he's so invested. I wanna know what it is
Well,
about all of this that he's like, "I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it." And how far he's gonna go with this relationship, not really relationship, but what he's doing and using slightly as a pawn. Is this just gonna be another, X of dead bodies left in his path, or is he gonna eventually kind of find something out about slightly where he realizes, "Okay, maybe I don't wanna throw this kid under the bus here."
I think that, like, personally, I think it's gonna culminate to Morrow definitely figuring it out and either just handing the information over straight away to what's the corporation that he works for called? It's the one with a lot.
Weyland-Yutani.
Weyland-Yutani. So, I think he's like, I could see him using like, handing it over or using it as some sort of, like, threat kind of thing to extract something he wants. But, I mean, I think one thing we know for sure is that rolling a bunch of Xenomorph, like, reiterations into your home is probably not gonna work out the
Right,
best.
right,
And, also, eventually Morrow is gonna figure out that these synths with children's consciousness inside of them are capable of, like, fighting xenomorphs, which really kind of turns them into, like, a military grade weapon. So, I've had a feeling from the start when we saw the kids that this was gonna turn into some, like, military industrial complex dystopia with them, but it's also like, how are we gonna get there?
yeah, I could see that. I definitely think that there's something like that going on, like, it's a definite possibility, but I'm also wondering if it's going to take a turn somewhere that we don't expect. I feel like within this whole consciousness upload or movement that's happening, I don't know if they're copies or what, so I'm not sure exactly how to describe it at this point, but I'm wondering if we're gonna see, like, a very horrific twist happening somewhere. Like, I'm trying to think of all of, like, the worst case scenarios. Like,
Well,
what if they're copies? What if their bodies are still alive somewhere, like, locked in a basement? What if they have to confront their old self and learn that they're actually just a copy or something really messed up?
yeah,
Or I'm thinking of Boy Kavalier.
Guy
Guy
Cavalier.
Cavalier.
That works too.
Boy Kavalier. I feel like his dialogue where he's talking about how, he just wants to find someone on equal terms as himself intellectually. I kind of feel like they really put that in our heads where like he's obsessed with being the smartest, being the best, this, overachiever who thinks he can do nothing wrong. It's in the
Right.
name, very cavalier, but I really hope he dies dumb. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
can
I
you
think he's going
imagine?
to. I think he's
Yeah,
going to,
like that's
you
the
know,
perfect,
but
180.
okay, so the only thing that works against him dying dumb is that, like, he did make a really smart move in this episode. And, he goes into the lab, the eggs start responding to his organic material, and Kirsch, sends him away. And in that moment, I kind of expected him to act like a hyper entitled, you know,
Brat about it.
megalomaniac.
Yeah.
Yeah. But instead, he took like the totally reasonable path and was like, yeah, lock it down. No one in but since, which I mean is gonna like stymie some of the, hemorrhaging that's gonna happen later, but we also have to grapple with, like, what's happening to Wendy.
Before we move to Wendy, can I
Oh.
go into some theory ideas?
Yeah.
Okay. So they made a big show to tell us in the first 2 episodes that there's actually, what is it, these 5 corporations, and this
Right.
whole Prodigy company is it's a new one. I'm not 100% sure, and I'm not an expert on alien lore and stuff like that, but I think, like, this is a new one. Like, we don't see this Prodigy company come up later down the road. So, like I said in our last episode, with the timeline, if the aliens got out and there was some, big catastrophe, people would know what they are. The same as, like, later down the road, they would know that this company exists. So I feel like it's gotta go under. And not only does it have to
Right.
go under, it has to go, like, away like it never happened. And
Well,
so I feel like companies gotta die and probably Cavaliers gotta die
yeah,
before the end.
so it's kinda like when we were watching Dune Prophecy, like, you know what's coming hundreds of years in the future, so the real question is, like, how do they knit all of this together to make it work within, like, the greater universe that already exists and
Mhm.
already has, like, very firm footing in what's
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
And I think it'll be really interesting to see, like, first of all, where they go with all of this, because I could imagine a situation where they have multiple seasons, but not necessarily every season happens with the same characters or,
Mhm.
something like that. Like, a lot of sci-fi gets away with doing, like, character change ups,
Yeah.
but it's like I said, well, the Wendy piece is a big part of it, because like,
What Okay, before we get to her, what do you think fitting way the most fitting death for a Cavalier could be? Because I said I think he's gonna die dumb. I feel like some type of head injury or something where, like, he loses what he's what he cares most about himself. So I think, like, something like that would be cool, or he's gonna get on that table himself and try and, maybe
make the
his
jump.
yeah,
Yeah,
make the jump and it not
and fail.
go. Yeah, and so he's left kind of just this half conscious
Yeah,
thing.
I really kind of think that he's more likely to die trying to make that consciousness jump into a synth body than I think for him to, like, die by the hands of, like, any form of a xenomorph, whether it's, like,
Mhm.
from eggs to, face hugger, chest bursters, whatever.
Yeah,
He does seem, like, really consciously aware of the danger that these things pose, but I feel like the temptation of additional power once he figures out, like, how powerful the synths are against the xenomorphs, that's what I think will really probably be his undoing, is a
that's the
desire for
carrot on the
greater
stick.
yeah, the
Yeah.
desire for more power.
Ooh, yeah, I could definitely see that. I could definitely see that. Where, like, it's not even a life and death situation. He just realizes, hey, if he wants to corral these creatures and he wants to study them, it's easier to do that from within a synth body, and just his ego,
You know
allows him to try and make the jump.
yeah, and, like, I tend to be of, like, the mindset that I'm not really sure what purpose that studying the xenomorphs poses outside of, like, tactical. I mean, honestly, what would they really wanna take from xenomorphs and, like, transfer over to humans that could even possibly work,
If they
you know?
already have, like, the option of these synth bodies, I mean,
Yeah.
this is a big theme in the Alien franchise, though, like, the perfect species.
If you think about it, they kind of are.
Yeah, like, they're the
Like,
ultimate
survivalist.
Yeah,
They are like they're like an invasive weed in some ways.
yeah,
So when you look at, like, the aliens, their only, like, drive is really survival, and they're willing to, like, destroy themselves to that effect, like, for that goal, and we see it, like, across, like, every movie has some example of a xenomorph, like, putting survival above everything else, and in this Can we talk about that fight scene now?
Yeah, 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 let's go.
Okay, so when we get to that, like, the Joe, Wendy, Xenomorph delivery bay scene,
Mhm,
we see, like, her just jump into action, and it's like, this is one of those moments where we really see that she is like a supercomputer child. Very deadly, but kind of
mhm.
impulsive, but also, like, really kinda like the supercomputer is like, "Don't worry, I got this."
Yeah.
So, she hooks that thing by the little mouth, and, like, she's dragging it, and it's like, "What is going on here?"
Again with the Peter
Yeah,
Pan reference, though, with, like, the hook. It was
yeah,
just, like,
and so
it was so visceral, oh my
right.
god.
She's dragging this thing around, and you can see it, like, fighting to get free,
Yeah.
and then even when it does, it's like, "Whatever, like, we're fighting again," like,
Mhm.
it's just like, the xenomorphs never give up,
No.
and
No.
I think that that's it's probably part of their, like, evolution, like, it's probably, like, an armored evolutionary trait for them because otherwise, like, how does one survive?
Right.
Especially in, like, the dark trenches of space. But we also see, like, what is going on with her at the end because, like, in my mind, I'm like, did
What
her synth body and organic consciousness somehow take in some part of the DNA of a xenomorph? Because, like, she's having these, like,
fits.
psychic
Yeah.
reactions to what's happening to that little face hugger on the table with all the wild textures around it. And, like, that's why I think that the points with her, like, kind of converging into the xenomorph is going to lead to him dying to try and access that same level of, let's just call it power.
Yeah.
But what does this mean for her?
I
Like,
well,
how many xenomorphs is she like a hive mind with them now?
yeah, like, that's the question, like, what is the connection between her and the eggs, her and the face hugger? Like, what is it about her body? Because I refuse to believe it has something to do with her consciousness, like, her memories, because I
Right.
don't like,
Well, no, it's not about yeah,
there's nothing as far as I know, there's nothing biologically her in that body, And so, like,
right.
what's the connection here?
Yeah, so it would have to be, like, somehow the synth body can take on outside DNA, but, like, also, does this mean that xenomorphs have, like, a hive mind situation, and that's why they're always so good at tracking
I
everything
think so,
down?
yeah, I
Okay.
think so. I mean, it's definitely I'm thinking back to other Alien movies. I think it is I wanna say oh, man, it's been forever since I've watched it, but I do think in Prometheus, there's, like, an egg like a hatchery scene, and I
Yeah,
feel
there
like they all
is.
kind of, like, activate at the same time, like baby birds, like, they all kinda come out. I don't know if that's
It's
necessarily, like,
it's
a
been
hive
a
mind thing or if it's, like, a
right.
biological thing because we have that with our own species, but here on
But
Earth,
there's
but
there's also so much to work, like, against them having a hive mind situation because was it in Prometheus that there are 2 xenomorphs fighting with, like, another type of xenomorph, or am I thinking of another movie? Yeah, it's like
Prometheus is basically where they find out that humans are evolutionally, like, connected to these messengers, like, I don't know,
those
that
okay, yeah, I remember because in the end it has those, like, big beans in it.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
very Jesus coded, yeah.
I really love this, like, insertion of her becoming, like, of a hive mind with the xenomorphs, but I also, like, really need to see episode 4 now because I need to see what else
I
happens.
girl,
And
it's
how connected is she?
yeah, mid-season finale. The mid-season finale always goes hard. I have a feeling this one's
Yeah,
gonna go
I
hard,
hope
whether it
so.
be alien stuff, like learning new stuff about the species and the connection between Wendy and the aliens, or is it just gonna be Morrow walking in on Neverland Island and starting a ruckus, you
That's
know?
true.
Because I could see him breaking in and then all hell breaks loose, things escape, there's a big fight,
Yeah.
et cetera, but
Uh,
I don't know.
yeah, I it's
What
it's
about
interesting because it's
Yeah,
like, God, where are we going now?
that's okay, that's I think one of my favorite aspects so far is where I really don't know what direction the show is heading. In some cases, it can be a little bit frustrating because, inside you want, like, "Give me the answers," but at the same time, it's been fun to kind of, like,
Yeah.
guess and try and suss out what every how it's all connected and where it's gonna go. I'm still reeling over the fact that they took out one of Joe's lungs and put the little alien sperm thing creature in
In it.
it.
It was
Like,
like they were like, "Yeah, let's just do this."
what?
So,
Where are we going with that? So now, like, a part of his body is going to be l-
connected.
connected to one of the xenomorphs, and so like now are the siblings both gonna have some type of weird connection to where, like, they are somewhat able to kind of combat the alien? Like, I could see this thing with his lung somehow giving him an advantage down the line. Like, I don't know how, but I could
Yeah,
see it happening.
I have a feel like the whole stuff with Joe towards the end of the episode, it's kind of like so, they give his lung to a xenomorph, like
I would be so mad.
tadpole, and but we don't really like see where that leaves him post surgery, like what all have they done kind of
He's
thing.
gonna be a cyborg, like, he can't live
And
without a
that's the
lung.
thing. I was actually kind of wondering if he was gonna end up making the jump to a synth body and, like, would be able to do it kinda thing, because, like, I could see that happening. I don't really have any basis for why I think that. It's just something that I'm like, "That could work."
Yeah, just throwing stuff at the wall. I feel
Ooh,
ya.
what if he makes the jump and then that makes Boy
Cavalier.
Kavalier think he can make the jump?
Ooh,
Okay, so
ooh,
maybe it could work. But
maybe.
I still stand on they should have dropped all 3 these 3 episodes together.
Yeah.
I really think they should have put 3 in that opening set.
I'm okay with it. I'm
I'm
fine.
okay with it.
I think the first 2 were good. I still don't know if I like okay, originally, when after I watched the episode, I was like, "I still think I like the first 2 better," but as we talk about it, I'm like, "No, maybe I like this one more now that I'm
This is
chewing on things."
this is
Because
absolutely my favorite so far.
okay, okay. I think I don't know with Joe, I think he's gonna become a cyborg. They're gonna give him
Ooh, okay, yeah, he can be a
he's
cyborg. I
he's gonna
forgot
get
about
some
that.
machine parts, and we're gonna kind of like
A mini iron lung.
yeah, yeah. And so we've got that going on. I really want to talk about Kirsch for a little bit. Kirsch, I find really interesting because I'm sure you remember David from like the other Alien movies. This other,
I remember.
okay, okay. He's like obsessed with playing God essentially, and he really becomes kind of like the bad guy in some of the films, and honestly, he's a character that I find insufferable. Like, something about him, the actor does a great job, I don't know what it is, he's just so super unsettling. He sucks so hard.
He
But
sucks.
but the way that they've started to have Kirsch do these experiments, I feel like it is very purposely trying to mirror that aspect of David doing his experiments. And so they're getting us to try and think like, "Oh, he's like David." Like he's gonna become obsessed with playing God and this curiosity is gonna get the better of him. I personally would like to see them lead us down that trail and we eventually end up seeing Kirsch as this kind of very, like, legitimate father figure to the Lost Boys and end up fighting for them in a situation where maybe Boy Kavalier is willing to throw them under the bus. And so I think, like, his connection to what is her name? Dame Sylvia?
Yeah.
Because she's, like, the very like, she's the heart of the story. It's so far from, at first glance.
Right.
I could kind of see them possibly, like, working together to, like, save these kids in a situation where they're all gonna die or I don't know, but I think Kirsch just I don't know, I love the way he bosses Cavalier around. I love the way he not really bosses him around, but I love that he's able to tell him, like, "Back out," "Get out of here." He gives him some sass, and no other character can really do that right now, just Kirsch, and I find that really fascinating and just what it means for the story and their relationship and how that might change if, instead of Kirsch kind of taking that David role, what if he instead takes on, like, this more fatherly figure role and saves the day in a way, becomes the good guy.
Oh, that would be kind of a I mean, he's not like a bad guy. He's in that
No.
like morally gray
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
So it would be really interesting to see him like move into like the good guy kind of space. But, with Kirsch, I think we see a lot of like feelings are for humans.
Mhm.
Like, that's not what we are kind of thing. We are, other than human. I wonder if like it's his experiments that send this all into a tailspin.
It
Like,
could be.
he's gonna get way too because it's kind of like the same problematic issue we have with AI. At what point does it,
When can it rein itself
right.
in?
Right,
Yeah.
when can it rein itself in? And then not only that, when can it act as a hostile entity?
Mhm.
Because it realizes that, like, well, they can't tell me what to do anymore.
Right. Right. I
And
think yeah.
also, if the alien DNA can mesh with the synths, all of these synths in range of them are at risk of the same situation. So they're not even like, I guess like that's kind of like a situation like, well, the xenomorphs will find a way. No matter
Right.
what, they're
Right.
finding a way.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard not to talk about just the sound design and the visuals and the cinematography, the VFX, because it's one of those shows where it's like, "Ooh, like, this is just" the way that it's shot, I'm just like, I'm really, really into it in a way where, like, I'm not typically someone who, like, gets so caught up on that, like, I'm more like, "Give me the good story." But for whatever reason, this is just I don't know. It's been really fun to watch. It's been fun to listen to and kind of see where they're
I'm
going.
I know that this isn't like make or break for the show, but I'm
Mhm.
really hoping that we get into like one of those very HR Geiger sets. Like, the artist who really kind of opened this all up.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would be very cool. That would be very cool.
Yeah, like
Letting that,
that's
like
I can't wait because like every Aliens movie has a very HR Geiger set to it. Like
you wanna
at
see the
some
one.
point, right? I want to see it. I want to see the one for this one. And I hope that they don't like skip over that because that artist was such an integral role of where the franchise started.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be curious to see. Maybe it'll be I don't know, maybe it'll be mid-season
I feel like we'll
finale.
we'll have to be off-world for that kinda thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel really good about this one. I'm definitely curious what's going to happen next week, and I'm really excited to see how all of these experiments are going when we check back in next episode, because I feel
Right?
like it just has there has to be a catastrophic event that happens. I don't know. That's my prediction.
I mean, if all 5 of those eggs open up at the same time and release, like, a bunch of little
Yeah.
nightmares into the facility, like,
Creeping around.
I could also see Boy Cavalier dying in the same way that those, like, uh, peacekeeper officers did in the first episode, like, where they're chained to that thing and then the thing, like,
Yeah,
wiggles in and it's like, "Hey there."
that would be a definitely, like, fitting,
Yeah.
him losing his sanity,
'Cause we've seen a
screaming.
lot of focus on, like, the smaller versions, like, the earlier life cycles of the
Yeah,
xenomorphs. We've seen a lot of
we're
focus
getting
on
so
those.
many of those. I
I
mean,
know.
I that's another thing with this episode I was really excited about, because it was like, okay, I wasn't expecting to get that many more iterations of the
There's been
creature,
so
but
many. It's
there's
like
been
we
a
could
lot.
literally play Xenomorph bingo for the season, like,
You need to use your
basically
whiteboard next
yeah,
episode and
we still need to see a queen,
yeah,
and I don't know if we've really seen chest bursters yet, but
not really an
not
action
really.
action.
No, we've seen more of, like, the tadpoles, the eggs, the chest huggers,
Wasn't the yeah,
or the
yeah,
the face huggers.
yeah.
I don't know what those little things that crawled into those soldiers and, like, blow up like the ticks of the apocalypse, like
Apoca apocalyptics.
apocalyptics, that's what those are called from now on. Like, we've seen apocalyptics and things like that, and yeah, we've seen, like, one xenomorph, but we've also, seen it get its ass handed to it.
We really did.
Yeah.
I loved how, like, it was like, "Oh, no, she's trapped in there with it," and it's like,
Nope, it's
it's
trapped in with I actually very much took it as a it's trapped with her kinda thing, and, like, it's already really pretty injured.
yeah. I mean,
But I
I loved
do
all of that from
yeah,
Joe's point of view, because from his point of view, he's like, "Oh, no, oh, no," but from our point of view, it's like, "Oh, yes." She's gonna
yeah.
get him.
But yeah,
Alright.
it was a really good episode.
It was. So if you're listening, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe so more people can see this and find it. And Laura and I will be back with the next episode next week. You can find me on Discord, Blue Sky, Patreon, YouTube membership, all those things. And we will see you then.